Well, welcome to our third webinar as part of the TimeSlips 2021 Spring Fest. Whether you are joining us by phone or on a device, I'm Kathy, joining you from Cleveland. I'm just so grateful that you all are here. Today's webinar will be recorded live, and those that can't join us, will be sending that out to them after the close of our festival in May. For the best experience, we've had individuals who called in, their phones are muted. And for those who are joining us via a device, we also have your video and your microphone turned off. And also just to let you know that today's webinar is being live captioned. So we placed the stream text link in the chat, and we hope that folks are able to make advantage of that. So without further ado, I'm going to turn off our poll and introduce our main presenter today. So again, welcome everyone. Andrew Morton is an award-winning playwright and theater maker based in Detroit, where in addition to working for TimeSlips, he works as a teaching artist and facilitator with a variety of social service and arts organizations, and was recently named a 2020 Kresge Artist Fellow. So Andrew, I will turn it over to you. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you everyone else for joining us today. I'm really happy to be with you all to tell you a little bit more about some exciting new resources that we have available, some already out in the world, ready for you to take advantage of right away, and some others that we'll be launching in the next few months here. So today's webinar is our creative resource toolkit showcase. I will be talking you through a couple of resources, and about halfway through the webinar as well, I'll be switching to a pre-recorded video of my colleague Sam Goodrich, who's not able to be with us in person today, but through the magic of pre-recorded video, we'll be able to give you a wonderful tour of some of our new resources. So as you heard from Kathy, I'm Andrew, and I'm based in Detroit. I'm a white male wearing a green button-down shirt with short hair and blue rimmed glasses. And also, before we begin here, we're going to start with a land acknowledgement as well. And I now acknowledge that here in Detroit, Michigan, I am on the land of the traditional lands and territory of the Anishinaabe people, also known as the Three Fires of the Confederacy, comprising the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi. The forced removal of Indigenous people from these lands is a history that must be acknowledged, along with the current struggles of all Indigenous people. As I continue here, Kathy is going to drop a link in the chat that if you are in the US or Canada, if you are interested about finding out what native lands you are on, you can put in your information in that link, and it will let you know. And you're also welcome to share what territory you might be joining us from in the chat as well. So thank you, everyone. Kathy also dropped a link in the chat earlier about closed captioning that we're offering for this webinar, but just want to make sure that everyone is aware of that too. So if you'd like to take advantage of those options, you can click closed caption at the bottom right corner of your screen to access. And you can also access the live captioning via stream text. And that link both on the screen is also on the chat as well. So, oops. So what we're here to do today is, as I mentioned already, is to talk about some resources that we have available that we would like folks to know more about and hopefully be inspired to use. The first thing we'll talk about is a recent collaboration, a project that TimeSlips did with some wonderful folks at Link Senior and #ActivityStrong called the Shine Your Light Project. So I'm very excited to be able to tell you a little bit more about that project and the free resources that are available now. Then, as I mentioned too, we'll switch and have a video presentation from my colleague Sam, which will include a tour of some of the resources available on the TimeSlips website, but also in that video, you'll get to see a sample of what we created for that Shining Light project as well. So you'll get a chance to see some examples in my presentation, but also the downloadable resources you'll get to see in that link. And then we'll end today with very exciting, where we'll be sharing some more information about our brand new Creative Care Imagination Kit, which will be released into the world in just a few more months. And we're very excited to tell you more about that. And you'll get to see a little video of the kit in action with some very special friends and people close to the TimeSlips family as well. So to begin with the Shine Your Light project, So this was a project that, as I mentioned, was a collaboration with Linked Senior and the hashtag Activity Strong program. It began as a conversation in sort of middle of 2020, recognizing that last year was definitely a challenging year for many of us. But especially for those living and working in long-term care communities. And as an organization that supports life enrichment directors and activity directors in those communities, Linked Senior approached us about creating a project that would celebrate the work of all those wonderful people working in those communities, and at the same time promote creative engagement. I know many of you who might be joining us today who are TimeSlips facilitators or have used our techniques previously might know that myself included would often go into care communities and lead sessions. And it's been really hard and challenging to not be able to do that over the past year or so. So this was a really great project to be able to think of how we could get TimeSlips back into these care communities, even if facilitators and master trainers like myself couldn't get into those communities ourselves physically. So the Shine Your Light project was born. The specifics of this project is that it was a 5-week celebration that happened early this year. And again, it was designed to illuminate the care industry with creative care and again, celebrate activity and life enrichments professionals and their residents. So during those 5 weeks, we released a brand new creative activity guide that myself and Sam created. That included prompts for creative conversations and suggestions for a variety of engaging creative activities that could be done solo activities or one-on-one or in kind of small group settings as well. So these guides, again, were created by TimeSlips staff, and we created them in a way that hopefully it would provide some inspiration of a fun and creative activity to do, but also it kind of made room for people to engage in the project however they wanted to. If they only wanted to do a couple of the activities or they wanted to kind of go like all in and do all the activities, we even encourage people to work towards a sort of celebration at the end of those 5 weeks that we were calling a celebration of light. So the inspiration for this project, as I mentioned, the idea came from conversations with Linked Senior and Activity Strong. But when Sam and I started to think about the content of this work and what we wanted to include, our inspiration actually came from somewhat of an unlikely source, which is the wonderful Dolly Parton, who in the image that is on the screen here, if you can't see, it's Dolly in all her glory, shining brightly, sparkling. And last year too, Sam and I were both enjoying her Netflix Christmas special that was on Christmas in the Square, which I know it's not the holiday season anymore, but if it's still up and if you're in need of like a little bit of injection of like joy and goodness in your life, totally recommend it. You should check it out. But that without giving any spoilers, in that movie, there's so many conversations about the importance of like light in the world and being a light to others. So we totally like leaned into thinking like, what would Dolly do for this project? What kind of activities or what kind of questions might Dolly Parton ask? And that gave us some wonderful inspiration for some of the activities that you'll get a chance to see later today. It also happened that the sort of timing of the project was happening while many care communities were also celebrating the fact that their residents and staff were getting vaccinated, and some of those care communities are now opening up to visitors. And we also recognize too that in Dolly's sort of example to us as someone who is an incredible sort of philanthropic figure, donating money to support vaccines, but also the great work she does to support childhood literacy and all those kind of programs. We again thought that there was just some great sort of connections there to sort of Dolly's inspiration to us. So we wanted to let people know that that's where the inspiration for this project came from. And then, as I said, we created these weekly creativity guides, and each week they were sort of framed or sort of themed around one guiding beautiful question. So the example you can see here on the screen, for the first week, the question was, who or what is a light in your life? And if you actually want to answer that question in the chat, we would love to hear your responses. Who or what is a light in your life? If you'd like to answer that beautiful question, please put your responses in the chat. We'd love to hear those responses. So again, we had these creative guides. They were available on a website, which we'll get a chance to look at in a moment. Even though this project happens, the sort of first round of it happened early in the year, the guides are still available, and We were trying to encourage many communities to participate in the project at the same time to sort of feel like they were part of a larger project together. But the guides are still available. So even if you missed out the first time and you'd like to do the 5-week program in your own community, you can totally access those resources, and we'd love to hear folks taking advantage of those. So again, the celebration earlier this year kicked off with a webinar in January. We were able to reach over 800 activity life professionals across the US. And then we had at least 300 people from different communities that signed up to participate in the event, which also coincided with National Activity Professionals Week. And so it ended in sort of the end of February. So again, this project was both as a way to inject creative engagement into these communities, but also to really highlight and thank the incredible work of activity professionals. So during those 5 weeks, again, we supported the different communities in a variety of different ways to find some more kind of creative examples of ways that they could connect on an everyday basis, both to provide the older adults a little bit of purpose, but also to give those activity directors a different kind of way of engaging. And some of the examples we'll look at in a moment, I think you'll see that this project was really able to inject some light and some goodness into the communities. So here are just a few examples of some of the activities that were included. I mentioned that there was a creative conversation using a beautiful question that kind of began each week. And then we offered some different activities, whether they were downloadable worksheets that you could complete. So this was an example of writing the name of the person or the thing that was a light in your life in the middle of the sun there, and kind of adding more details around them. We also did some other activities using candles as kind of a motif. We were thinking about, if you're talking about light in the world, we also need to talk about darkness and shadows. So we encourage people to try a little bit of shadow puppetry as well. And you see one example of that there. And we also invited people to think about ways that they could be a light to other people. So we encouraged them. Another activity we included in those guides was to create a sort of simple light jar that you could decorate, an old mason jar or a glass, maybe put a little battery operated votive candle or a little sort of string of lights in that, and place it in a window or place it somewhere else in the care community where other people may see those light jars, and perhaps it might brighten their day in some way. So again, just a few examples there of the creativity that people did during the project. And I do want to thank a few of the communities who were great to share those examples of their residents' work with us. Folks at the Landings of Oregon, Assisted Living at Summer Place, Avamere at Seaside, Regency Manor, and Vernon Woods Retirement Community. Those are just a few of the communities that participated in the first 5-week program. There were many more as well, but those are the ones that shared some of the photos and examples that you just saw. So a great project. Sam and I had a wonderful time working on the project. And again, we said it is the creativity guides are still available on a sort of separate Shine Your Light project website, which you're going to get a chance to see now in the video that Sam has prepared earlier. So I'm going to switch my screen here for a minute. So I'll bring up her video, and that video is about 20 minutes long. So during that 20 minutes, you'll see and hear Sam talk about some other resources that are available on our website, in addition to the Shine Your Light project. And then when that's complete, I'll come back on screen and tell you a little bit more about the Imagination Kit. So I will see you in a few.
Hello, everyone. As Andrew mentioned, my name is Sam Goodrich. I am the Telestories Program Manager and Lead Trainer with TimeSlips. I'm very excited to be here. I also work on the communication efforts with some of my teammates, and we've been working really hard over the last year to increase the resources we can provide you, and I'm so excited to get the chance to share them with you again now that some time has passed, knowing that you may not be aware of all of them. So it's sort of a relearning of what we have to offer, and I'm excited to hopefully share some new resources with you. To access the Shine Your Light workbooks and supporting materials, you can visit activitystrong.com/shineyourlight. We'll throw that link in this chat too, so you can take a look at it later. This webpage has everything you need to take full advantage of these resources and this project. We have a pre-guide, which we recommend for people who are not familiar with the TimeSlips methodology to take a look at. It goes over a few of our core concepts super briefly, but if you have taken or plan on taking the training on our site, you won't need to worry about this. Then after that, you can access all 5 guides either here or scroll down to the bottom where you can get an overview. You'll see that there are dates listed here with each 5 weeks. However, this can be done at any pace. The project with Activity Strong has passed, but we want to continue helping you shine your light so you can keep going with this. And you can do it at any pace that works for you and the people you are caring for. So the overview has a list of different activities you can expect with each week, as well as any materials that might be suggested to go along with some of the activities. We do suggest that you go from the start to finish, since there is a little bit of a build and it culminates into the option to do some sort of celebration of light. But of course, if you're doing this one-on-one and you're not in a care setting, you might find that it's better to do certain activities and cater it a little more specific to your care partnership. Each guide is divided into 3 sections that start with a beautiful question and a creative conversation, and is followed by 2 activities that also fit the theme. You'll see here that the beautiful question we list also has different ways you can rephrase the question. We try and make it as accessible for as many people as possible. So as you go through, there are tips and tricks to be able to engage with anyone you might be working with. The following activities also fit that same theme, that same beautiful question of the week, and take it in different directions, in different artistic mediums. We wanted to give everyone a chance to shine, whether they may be more interested in music or visual arts or storytelling or conversations. There are many different opportunities for everyone to participate in whatever way that is possible for them to do. So in this case, we have a visual arts, more hands-on activity where you can help cut out this template here. We have an example as well, but it sort of starts with the conversation and then fits into this beautiful visual art project where you can then combine, if you're in a care setting, you can combine multiple of these on a wall, and it just is a fun way to bolster community and togetherness. We also have a songwriting activity here. It still fits the theme. There are links, so if you download the guides and you're using it on your iPad, you can access the links there, or you can print it out, and it's not reliant on your tech availability. But if you are able to use that, there is that option as well. At the end of these guides, there are also tips on how to gear up for that celebration of light that was created for care communities that might be engaging with multiple people throughout the project. But even though our active partnership with Activity Strong is done with this project, we encourage you to still shine your light and share with us your work via social media, via email. All that information is at that last page. But even if it's just for you, we hope that you are able to spread some light. We know that the last year, over a year now, has been very challenging. Of course, our elders have been hit arguably the hardest throughout this last period of time. Of course, being vulnerable to COVID and needing those additional restrictions in visitation. But of course, that's the hardest part for those of us who care for them. Not being able to be with them, feeling a distance, not just physically, but even emotionally. So our goal back then, when COVID and lockdown first began in the US, and our goal continues to be to provide you additional resources to maintain and increase engagement and connections in a time where we still need to be apart. So I'm really excited to help navigate you through our website and show you all of these great resources. And if you have any questions, be sure to add them in the chat. In order to help you best facilitate these activities and maximize the engagement in your sessions, we do highly suggest that you pursue our evidence-based training and certification. We have different levels of training. Andrew mentioned earlier the friends and family training, which is great for working individually, one-on-one. It's sort of a condensed version of the training. We have our more broader trainings for creative campuses, intergenerational settings, and the creative community of care training, which is our general organizational training. But today, what I will be recommending for most of you is our individual training and certification. So it's our most popular training. I think you'll get a lot out of it, and you'll be able to sort of flip a switch and kind of increase all of the benefits that these resources have for you. So the training portion is roughly 2.5 hours from start to finish, but you can start and stop it as you please. It's great for people who might have a busy schedule. It's also a fun training. I say that because I'm a visual person, and I really enjoyed our training. There's a lot of great different elements to it that are sort of geared towards creative people. So I feel like you'll enjoy that. After you begin the training, you'll be paired with a lead trainer, and that lead trainer will help you through the certification process. Just making sure you have a really solid understanding. Before you go through that certification process, you'll get the chance to test out all of the methodology and the ideas that you've learned in your training. You'll be able to put that into action in whatever capacity you're able to, whether that's remote or in person. And our experienced lead trainers will help you be able to do that in the best way that you are able to in this moment. Also with some tips on how to keep going in the future. So to access the training and certification, just make an account, then go to services and down to individual training. Then you can purchase the training from there. You can access the training at any point from your dashboard once you're logged in, which is located in the upper right-hand corner. If you want to explore resources before purchasing the training, a little bit of a try before you buy situation, you'll still need to make an account, which is free to do. So before anything, I would just go ahead and make that account if you haven't done so already. All of the resources I'm going to show you today can be found on our aptly named resource page, which can be accessed by clicking the main menu button here. Our Creativity Center has hundreds of prompts to help spur creative conversations and creative storytelling. I'd suggest visiting our Ask a Beautiful Question page and the Make Up a Story page to get started. Let's start with the Make Up a Story section. This is our most traditional TimeSlips storytelling method. These images all lend themselves to fun, creative, imaginative stories. The training I mentioned before goes into detail about how to run a traditional TimeSlips storytelling session, but you can still get started by using some of the starter questions we provide for you. Many people might select images to fit a theme, maybe a time of year. You might also consider an image that you think will resonate with your storyteller or storytellers that you'll be working with. You can send the picture over email if you're unable to do the session in person. You could always text it to someone, but if you are able to be in person, you can print it off by either dragging the image to your desktop and printing it from there, or by right-clicking the image right here on this main page and selecting print. There are starter questions below to help you get going that are listed for each image, and you can even save your stories here and access them later on your dashboard. Now let's look at our Beautiful Question page. Beautiful Questions have really proven their accessibility this year. They've been a huge tool for us and our creative certified facilitators during this time where we can't rely on visual elements, we can't be in person with others. So beautiful questions act as an easy and effective way to connect with someone without relying on any visual prompts or technology for that matter. This makes them a great option for prompts to be used over the phone. You might consider writing one out on a postcard and inviting a response. These questions are pun intended, beautiful, and often lead to creative conversations that are based in the present moment, so they are accessible to people with or without memory loss, and they are really fun to use with any age. If you're looking for more support while using these questions, in a few moments I'll share a guide with you that will help you facilitate these conversations while using the beautiful questions. To stay up to date with everything TimeSlips, I would recommend that you check out our blogs, our newsletters, and our news posts. Our blogs feature writings from the TimeSlips team as well as from professionals and individuals providing care in the creative aging field. We have a beautifully diverse audience of artists, students, family care partners, healthcare professionals, the list goes on. And these blogs are meant to represent all who provide care for people living with cognitive differences. And we hope that over the next year to highlight even more of our network and the great work that they're doing. To stay in the loop with TimeSlips, we recommend subscribing to our newsletters. We have both monthly newsletters, which share general TimeSlips updates, as well as weekly emails that share bite-sized doses of creative care to help support your practice. You can sign up for one or either, and I think you'll enjoy some of the resources provided there. In general, for any job postings, project, or team updates, you can visit our news page for all important announcements. These are also shared via our social media. Last year was the year of the webinar for TimeSlips, and I'm sure many others. We quickly adjusted our in-person presentations and our celebrations to virtual showcases, and where we shared over 20 webinars with our network that spanned a variety of topics. This year we're continuing the work, and our webinar archive is a great place to access links for any of the past events that we've hosted virtually. I think you'll be able to get lots of inspiration from them moving forward. So one creative project I'm excited to share with you today is our Wendy's Neverland project. This was inspired by a 3-year project that happened in rural Kentucky with 12 care communities throughout the state. And we decided to turn this beautiful, very involved project into bite-sized virtual workshops. They're meant for guiding one-on-one engagement, which can be done bedside. I'm sure without any difficulty, you can adapt this to small groups as well, now that we're able to start being in person more. Now you can reimagine the story of Peter Pan at home or in care communities. It is perfect for all ages. There are so many beautiful themes from this story that are applicable to any age. And you can follow along with both the videos and or the printable worksheets that are provided. Our creativity guides follow a template much like the Shine Your Light guides that we shared with you earlier. And while we have many free guides for you to download and use, I'm going to walk you through just a couple of them to help you get started and to get a sense of what we have. First, we have a mural guide. This is fun. This guide features beautiful art images from the artist Andy Rudloff. And you can have the option of either enlarging the images and making an outline of them on a window so that people on either side of that window can help make this beautiful collaborative art piece by painting the window on either side using that outline. Or as you are able to be in person more with your loved ones, you can print them out in a regular size and use them as coloring pages. They're beautiful images. They can definitely be supported by some beautiful questions, which leads me to the next guide I'm happy to share with you, our beautiful questions guide. So as we mentioned, beautiful questions are the key to engaging creatively. They are the core concept in our training, a core concept. And while we recommend you taking the full training to get a better understanding of how to facilitate creative conversations and opportunities for engagement, this guide is a great introduction to help you get started. You can try using these questions on the phone with an elder you care about, or you can use it as a prompt to write on a postcard to someone that you care for. You can also call our beautiful question voicemail line. The number we can add in the chat, but it's also available in this guide. So you can leave your answer to beautiful questions on that voicemail. Really, the options with beautiful questions are limitless, and this guide walks you through the ins and outs of using these questions. It's a great support to help you get started. The next ones I want to highlight are the homemade zines. So zines, for those of you who are unfamiliar, it's sort of a artistic take on a magazine, and often is done handmade, cutting out bits and pieces, gluing. It's very hands-on, and then is copied for distribution. Well, as a part of the Wisconsin Creative Communities of Care project that was in 2019 and 2020, TimeSlips hired 5 regional artists who were asked to work with local care communities to facilitate a large-scale creative celebration. And those celebrations were going to be just fabulous and beautiful, but of course with COVID, those plans needed to change. In an effort to meet the needs of the moment, the artists came together to collaborate on a series of 3 zine workbooks with the goal of providing increased engagement opportunities and creative opportunities without putting more effort and stress onto the staff. All 3 of the zines engage various ability levels and include multiple mediums: visual, tactile, and musical, and all of them follow the theme of home, which is something I think we're very familiar with in a different way this year. These zines can be printed out and completed individually. They're very adaptable. They could be worked on together or as a group. And these zines pair well. It sounds like I'm talking about a wine pairing here, but these zines pair well with the homemade zine webinar from last year's Fall Festival. I think I mentioned this earlier, but many of our guides have a corresponding webinar. The superhero one, they are supported in that way, so you can get even more additional inspiration from the artists who created them. And then you can dive into having the fun yourself and making these your own experience. I don't have time to go over every resource we have available on our site, but I hope now you are empowered to venture out there on your own, discover some of the additional resources I talked about and maybe some that I didn't talk about. We hope that you have a lot of fun going through them and adding them to some of your care practices.
All right, well, thank you again, Sam, for creating that video to give a sort of brief overview of the many resources that we have on our website. We know that there's quite a lot of information in there, and just to remind folks that like all of our other webinars, this one will be recorded, so you can go back and look at this, the recording of this video, and watch that video when it's posted in a couple of weeks, so you can refresh your memory about some of those resources. And yeah, we wanted to kind of promote those again, even though some of the information there may be things that you're already familiar with. We acknowledge that there's just so much information and content on our website that sometimes you may forget or sort of not know that we have a lot of those guides, the creativity guides and the webinars that are always free to access. So again, we wanted to make sure that we promoted those. And I'll add to that, a lot of those free creativity guides, while many of them were designed to be used primarily with older adults in a care community or maybe a one-to-one setting, some of them are great to use in many other settings as well. We didn't go into detail into our superhero project in Sam's video there, but that's a project that we created a couple years ago that our friends in Wisconsin, Elaine and Carrie, were creating with folks there. And I actually use those resources all the time outside of my work with TimeSlips. I often do a lot of work with young people in the foster care system, and I'm part of an incredible program that's an art therapy program, and I teach theater classes as part of that. And I'm using the superhero creativity guide right now with a group of 5 young people in Flint, and we're having a great time imagining like if we were superheroes, what would our characters be? What would be our superpowers? Just last Tuesday, we were talking about the villains in our stories as well. So I just throw that out there as another example that these resources, again, are free, and you can use them however you would like to. And if you use any of those resources in a fun or a kind of different way, we'd love to hear how you're accessing them and taking advantage of them too. So I see that there's a couple of comments that came in, questions that came in the chat too. I just have a couple more resources that I want to show, and then we will have plenty of time for question and answers at the end of the presentation today. So the last product or resource that we want to promote is, once again, the Creative Care Imagination Kit. And now this is something that we've been sort of talking about and kind of hinting at for a while now. I'm very pleased and excited to say we're getting even closer to this kit being available for everybody. So it is available for pre-order now, and I'll drop a link in the chat in a moment of where you can pre-order that kit. The link that we'll put in is the link to HarperCollins, who are publishing this kit. But on that link, you'll see that there's a variety of kind of links to other online book and sort of retail places where you can decide who you would like to support by purchasing that kit. I would recommend check out a few of them, because some of them do have some pre-order discounts available as well. So if you'd like to pre-order a kit, if you haven't already done so, the link is in the chat now. And so the kit itself, as you can see on the screen there, will include a great way to think about it is it's the sort of kind of physical manifestation or version of a lot of the resources that we have on our Creativity Center online. We acknowledge that while the resources that are available on our website are free, and hopefully many people find them really helpful, the fact that they're all online might make them a little harder to access for some folks. So we wanted to create a version of our sort of classic TimeSlips creative storytelling and beautiful questions projects that could be packaged in a really beautifully designed kit that people could use on a one-to-one setting in a care community. Could also make a wonderful gift for somebody who might have a family member or a friend who are living with memory loss. But also, as we learned when we were developing this kit with family caregivers and professionals here in Southeast Michigan, we learned that everybody had fun using this kit. So while, again, it was designed primarily for that purpose, we hope that it's something that everybody can find some kind of joy and laughter from. The kit itself includes the image cards. So you can see some on the screen there. And if you look at my camera, I'm showing you a couple examples as well. So we've got the penguins that appear in our engagement party resources as well, if anybody has taken advantage of those yet. Beautiful questions as well on cards. So we tried to sort of design so that the text and the font was clear and big enough to read. I can also let you know that the cards are pretty sturdy and like you can wipe down as well if you're concerned about kind of them being used by multiple people, particularly in the COVID world, with just a little wet rag or wipe, you can sort of wipe the cards down in the kit without sort of damaging the integrity of the product. So again, it's something that we're really, really happy to share with you all. And up until now, we've not really had any sort of anything other than the photo you can see on the screen right now to show you. But I am really excited to be able to let you know that we do have a short video that we're going to show you now, which includes seeing the kit kind of in action for the first time. So in this video, you'll see our founder, Anne, with her wonderful parents who are using the kit for the first time. And also want to give credits to the incredible talent in the family who have made this video in very short notice. So we have Anne's husband, Brad, was filming the video, and the music that you'll hear during the video too was also performed live by Anne's son, Will. So here we go, without further ado, the Creative Care Imagination Kit in action.
This is the Creative Care Imagination Kit.
Oh, great. I ought to be perfect for this.
Here are some beautiful questions. The first one is, what advice do you wish someone had given you?
I'm afraid that I got a lot of advice. Too much advice. One more.
How do you greet someone you love?
I greet someone I love with a lot of smiles and kisses.
Well, I greet someone I love every morning by saying, here's a kiss, and today is the 17th of April, and the year is
21.
That's correct.
You do that. He does that.
This is
So there we have it, the Imagination Kit in action. I know that was just a short video, but I hope that gave you a sense of the kind of joy and magic that kit can provide to folks. You saw in the video there too, a few of the other elements of the kit. So in addition to the image prompts and the beautiful question cards, there's also a journal, an instruction booklet and journal that comes with the kit. So if you are using it perhaps with a family member or with kind of other family members as a sort of intergenerational activity, you could keep a record of the stories that you create together in that journal and have that to keep as a sort of keepsake and memory of your time being creative together. So again, the kit is available for pre-order now. It will be released in early June. And we are, again, so excited to have the kits become available to folks, and really excited to hear from people about how they might be using it once they have kits in their hands. So that kind of brings us towards the end of today's presentation. Again, we just wanted to give you an overview of some of the free resources that we have available and the new kit coming out as well. So just a quick recap is that some things that you can do next if you're interested is to go back and explore those Shine Your Light resources, the project guides and the creativity guides. Again, even though that project happened officially early this year, the guides are still available online and you can access them and take advantage of them at any time. You could do a 5-week present sort of celebration in your own community, or you could just kind of sort of pull the elements from those creativity guides that you think would be most beneficial or helpful for whatever situation you're working in. Again, it's all free, so please take advantage of it and think about how you can shine some light in your own little sort of corner of the world. Thanks again to Sam for that video that gave us a great reminder of the many free resources that are available on our website, timeslips.org, all the free webinars, the free creativity guides. You can sign up for more information to get our newsletter to learn when we have new additional information and resources added as well. And last of all, if you are inspired to do so, you can go ahead and pre-order your very own Creative Care Imagination Kit. So that kind of brings us to the sort of end of the presentation now. So I see that there's some questions coming in. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Kathy might pop back on, and we'll have some time to answer some questions now. So thanks, everyone. Oh, before, actually, I forgot, we have to give a plug for our other webinars coming up. So we have 2 more webinars coming up as part of our Spring Festival happening next Tuesday and Thursday. So on Tuesday, April 27th, we'll be hearing from some fantastic student artists in residence, currently students at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. We'll be hearing more about the incredible work they've been doing as part of that program over the last few months. And then to end our Spring Festival on Thursday, we'll also be hearing from folks as part of the Dementia Inclusive Durham project, which also includes some university students and faculty at Duke University. So I hope you can join us for those webinars as well. The dates and times are on your screen there. And I believe Kathy has already beat me to it. The link to register for those is in the chat as well. You can also, if not already, follow us on social media. There's a handle for Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn that it is at TimeSlips Creative Care, and on Twitter we are at TimeSlips Create. So please, as I said earlier, if you use any of the free resources that we have, or once you have your kit, if you have any stories or examples of using it with friends and family and loved ones, we'd love to see examples of those. So please share those with us. And that is the end of our presentation. So now we can open it up for some questions.
So we have a lot of questions, and I'll start off with the first one. Excellent question about certification. So once someone gets trained in TimeSlips, Andrew, do they have to get recertification, and if so, when?
So with the certification, the process that we have online that Sam gave you that sort of brief tour of right now, that is a one-time thing. So once you go through the online training and you're matched with a master trainer, it could be myself or Kathy or one of our other great master trainers. I know many of them are on the call today too. Once you go through that process and the trainer has sort of coached you through the practicing of those techniques, you are certified. And then that's sort of the end of the process there. So you then have again sort of our name, and you can use our name and in whatever work you're doing, whether it's sort of in a care community or perhaps as a independent sort of artist or contractor, you're able to call yourselves a TimeSlips certified facilitator.
And one thing I'll add to that is that we also have been creating these webinars. It's been a long held dream to have kind of a continual learning community. So with not needing to be certified, we wanted to make sure we had continual resources in these webinars so that you could actually continue to increase your skill sets and just network with other people. That's what makes the creative engagement just so much richer for everyone. Our second question was, how much are the new imagination kits?
Great question. So currently the retail price is $39.99, but as I mentioned, I don't recall off the top of my head, and I'm not trying to promote any one sort of retail outlet over the other, but I do know that quite a few of them are advertising it for a pre-order price of $35.99. So if you want to get pre-order it now and take advantage of that little bit of discount, you can do that. The price point was actually something that came up a lot in our conversations as we were developing this kit. And in conversations with folks here in Southeast Michigan, we really wanted to try and get it to a price point that we felt was not something that would make it sort of too kind of cost prohibitive for folks, but also recognizing like the cost that goes into producing it. We're really happy that we were able to land at the price point of $39.99. We feel that that is hopefully a price that people feel is appropriate for the great resources that are in there. But if you want to take advantage of that early discount, check out those few links in the HarperCollins page that Kathy shared earlier.
So this next question, Andrew, if it's okay, I can answer this because I get this question a lot as engagement coordinator. We had a wonderful question about, can this webinar be used for CEU credits? We get this question a lot. What we encourage people to do is to write it into their accrediting body when they send in their credits. And then you can just do a short summary description based on what we have on our website or our materials. We unfortunately don't provide CEUs. It's very difficult for us to keep up with that for all of the different organizations and individuals who are trained in different disciplines, but a lot of people have done that with success. So we encourage you to go ahead and submit it. And we love being able to provide opportunities for people to have more experience and knowledge base. So it's wonderful that people are wanting to do that. Our next question was, love to know more about the Wendy's Neverland project.
Well, I would say a great place to start is to find all that content on our website. We've got some great webinars where you'll hear from artists who are directly involved in that project. I only had the pleasure of going to see one of the performances, but I can certainly tell you, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an employee of TimeSlips, I would definitely rank that experience as like one of the best like theatrical experiences I've ever seen. It was a beautiful project. The play was, of course, the sort of culmination of the larger project, but those creativity guides that we have online again, and the webinars, you could certainly draw a lot from those in terms of using kind of the Peter Pan story as that kind of starting point. in a very similar way as we did with Shine Your Light, sort of having that larger theme and then crafting beautiful questions around that larger theme, thinking of other activities that would connect to that as well. So other examples of things that were done in the Wendy's Neverland project was questions, asking beautiful questions like, if you could fly anywhere in the world, where would you go and why? And then thinking about if perhaps you're working with people who might have limited verbal ability or might not be able to respond to that question, thinking about ways that you can use movement as a way to connect. So thinking about like, what does flying look like and feel like, and can you kind of encourage people to join in with like a simple movement of flying. The production itself had a beautiful kind of dream ballet moments where we saw residents and staff sort of dancing together once they got their wings. So yeah, I could say so much more about that project, but my best recommendation would be to find those links on our website and think about how you could use some of those the elements of that project in your own work.
We have so many questions coming in. This is wonderful. The question next is from Linda. She said, do you find asking beautiful questions to more progressed residents works?
Great question. Kathy, feel free to like chime in on this too. I think we both have experience of doing this. When I've been using beautiful questions as part of the sort of separate, like just asking the questions or maybe the larger creative storytelling activity, it sometimes depends. I know when I, again, was developing the kits with caregiver support groups here in Southeast Michigan, quite often things that I would hear from caregivers were things along the lines of, "Oh, these resources and these techniques sound great, but I think my wife or I think my mom is kind of too far gone. I don't think this would connect with her." And then we would do a session with the caregivers and their care partners, and that particular person that previously was just said they were too far gone would be the most animated or the most active kind of person in the storytelling session. We know it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of situation. I can say that I have definitely worked in situations too in some memory care communities where the staff have told me that the person that was very active in that session is maybe hardly ever sort of engages or speaks during other times of the week, and it might just be that kind of creative sort of activity that really gets them to connect. So that would be my response to that I have seen it work, and I do think it can work with people even in quite advanced stages of dementia. Kathy, I don't know if you would have anything to add to that.
Sure. I've done a lot of work through the years with TimeSlips, and the bulk of what I had done starting off when I was a new trained facilitator was working with individuals in special care units, individuals who were dealing with like a hospice type situation, or individuals who were considered like end stage, like if someone is looking at stages. And I found that the responses, while maybe different, there was still a lot of engagement. So I really think it's our openness to kind of enter into the world or the room where this individual is, and to allow them to just beautifully participate in whatever way they feel is most comfortable and just fits their needs at that point. So I've seen head nods, sighs, or just kind of gestures with the arms and the shoulders in response to these beautiful questions, or even just making a glance at someone and pointing at them, if not lots of verbal expressions as well. So we always just continually encourage people, try the question, try engaging, because just like all of us have a story inside to tell and something we want to share with the world around us, I think it goes the same for anybody.
I'd add too, like, again, going back to the kit, when we were testing that out with various different groups, something that happened quite naturally was that the way that the image prompts obviously might require a little bit more kind of guidance in terms of how to facilitate that creative storytelling session. But the beautiful question cards, like, I would often leave those questions kind of out on a table if I was about to lead a session, and I would often see people, residents, kind of pick up a card and read the question out loud. So the idea too that the person, it doesn't always have to be the caregiver or the staff member that's facilitating the techniques. Another way to engage people might be to ask residents to read the cards. to folks. I know there was another place that I would often do creative storytelling sessions where there was a gentleman that would often be very rarely sort of offer responses to the story, but he loved to read it. So when it came to sort of reading our story at the end, it was always Ken's job to read the story out loud to everyone. Which is just another example again of people may respond to these techniques in different ways, but if to model that yes and idea of again meeting people where they're at, if they'd like to read or engage in a different way, we can still create space for them to do that.
So we have two questions that I'm going to sort of bundle together because we have several others. I want to make sure we get to them as much as possible. So we had a question of, has this been tested with different cultures and countries? And currently, TimeSlips is in 22 countries and 49 states here in the US. So it's quite enthralling for us to know that people are taking this in the language that we offered on the website and then translating it and using it. So I think much is going to be the same with these imagination kits because it's all just core TimeSlips materials. Andrew, if you want to, piggyback on that as well. But we also had the question of if it's going to be offered in French.
Yeah, I'm really glad that people are asking these questions because it's definitely something that we're thinking about at TimeSlips as well. Is that while we do, as Kathy mentioned, we have people who are trained in our techniques who use them in their own countries and cultures and may, on those occasions, maybe adapt some of our materials for their own purposes. Right now, like the kits, the only version that is coming out in June is a version in English. And the kit was also kind of created in sort of collaboration with our friends and family resources, the engagement party resources as well. I can tell you that we're definitely interested in starting to have some conversations about having the engagement party resources translated into languages other than English. I don't know about the kits. I know that, I can't speak on behalf of the publishers, but I know that in conversations when we were developing the kits, questions had come up about like, well, wouldn't it be great if there could be like future volumes of the kit? So it might have different images or different kind of question prompts. So we hope, I guess what we'll find out is that if the kit is successful and a lot of people are interested in it, that might hopefully motivate our publisher to want to produce multiple versions as well. And if we can check with, I can do some follow-up to check with our colleagues and contacts there if there may be plans down the line to release both the kit and Anne's book in other languages. But again, really glad that people are asking that, and that I think gives us more fuel to kind of push for that to happen. So thank you.
So we had another question about training, and Andrew, if it's okay, I'll take this one just because I know there's another one that I'll probably bounce over to you. Someone said, if I'm already trained as a TimeSlips facilitator, is it necessary to retrain? Refreshing and training is always good. So if an abbreviated workshop would be good. So we aren't necessitating people get recertified. What we're offering at this point is just additional tools to help you expand your skills and additional webinars and resources that can give you just more ideas for how you can expand your creative engagement and feel like you have just more of an agility with trying new programs or kind of deepening just the culture of creative engagement wherever it is that you're working. So the retraining isn't necessary, but we love the idea of people feeling like they're continually getting something new and refreshing in their work. So the last question that I have is, when you carry out a project, with a creative guide, what is the ratio between facilitator and client?
Great question. I think it varies. I can speak to maybe a couple examples that, again, I have been a little bit more closely involved in the creation of or have seen them being used. The Shine Your Light project, we definitely designed that with sort of COVID in mind, thinking that these could be resources that could very easily be done on a one-to-one basis, but if depending on the care community's restrictions, if they were having some kind of gatherings of people kind of doing activities together, that it could also be activities that could be done maybe with a little bit of distance between them as well. So I know I saw some people doing the, like I saw videos of people doing the creative conversations as part of the Shine Your Light project, where it was like a one-on-one. The staff member might go to like the resident's room and ask them the questions. Other times it may have been like a larger activity as well. I know the superhero project as well when that was developed in Wisconsin by our colleagues Elaine and Carrie. I think they were working with a team. There were the two facilitators themselves, but I think they were working with a team of perhaps maybe 6 or 7 individuals in that group where they were kind of all doing the group storytelling together. So again, it varies. I think I probably found most success doing a kind of storytelling activity with around like a number, but maybe between sort of 5 or 6 to 10 or 12. I know Kathy and I have maybe done larger sessions as well. And I think when the numbers get a little bit bigger than that, it's really helpful to have other staff members, whether it's other TimeSlips trained people or people that know TimeSlips, because I know that sometimes what can happen with a larger group is that someone might have a suggestion or they may say something, but where I'm at in the room, I might not hear them. So it's always really helpful if there's someone else that can say, oh, Andrew, we had another a comment or a suggestion and story here from someone else. So there's no like fast rules on how small or large the group can be, but just things to consider as the group gets larger. It's definitely helpful to have more sort of support, whether that's from staff or volunteers. So yeah.
So since we're at about 5 o'clock, a little bit after Eastern time, I want to make sure that we answer these 2 questions and then let you all go on your way. There was a question about, are there new pictures available for TimeSlips? I'm working with the original photos and wondering where and how to find new ones from TimeSlips. So if you go onto the resources page, our Creativity Center has more than 300 prompts that can be used. So we wanted to make sure that there were a lot of resources. A lot of you have been with TimeSlips for a long time. So on that Creativity Center is where you will find all of the prompts. And likewise with that, there was also a question about where to find trained facilitators. We also have that in the Our Network section under resources, that you can find a listing of all TimeSlips certified facilitators around the world who have an active email address, and you can literally click on the link and be in touch with them to help you navigate and network with what you're doing with your creative engagement. So, wow, so much just information and so many tools. Andrew, this has just been wonderful. We want to thank all of you for joining us here, and TimeSlips really looks forward to bringing you these important resources and continuing its work just to provide increased access for creative engagement. And it's for anyone with a disability or their loved one. So we hope that maybe you'll consider donating to TimeSlips or sharing these resources and the training that TimeSlips offers. And again, from all of us at TimeSlips, we are so excited about these imagination kits coming out, and we would love to hear your feedback when you start getting these in your hands and using them. And please do join us for our webinars that are coming next week, and stay in touch. We just love being in touch with all of you and sharing these creative engagements. And from all of us at TimeSlips to all of you, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.